So, is humility walking in self-deprecation? Always disapproving of our own actions and behavior? Always pointing out our own faults and shortcomings? Refusing to acknowledge any goodness in ourselves? This is perhaps the most common notion of humility, and Lewis agrees it's a misconception, saying, "Do not imagine that if you meet a really humble man, he will be what most people call humble nowadays. He will not be a sort of greasy, smarmy person who is always telling you that, of course, he is nobody. Probably all you will think about him is that he seemed a cheerful, intelligent chap who took a real interest in what you said to him." We find the scripture in agreement. The godly don't relish the attention of others, even if it be for their badness. The godly tend to be more other-centered, less self-focused, and they're secure in the love of God, so they don't seek attention. Confessing our faults for prayer and healing is good, but self-deprecation is unloving. It benefits no one, and it's not humility. It's just another shade of self-exaltation. But we must look farther here. The godly also don't ignore or deny their own goodness. They acknowledge their own excellence and righteousness, and they point this out to others when this is helpful and edifying. The Apostle Paul provides an excellent counterexample here, telling his friends how he has always been an excellent example of humility before them. Paul understood humility. He knew he had attained a significant degree of it, and he made it a point to tell this to others. If we cannot acknowledge goodness and excellence within ourselves in circumstances which warrant this, how could we then ever know we are of God? Or encourage others to follow our example? Or avoid thoughtless contradiction as we admit to seeing goodness in each other while ignoring or denying it within ourselves? We must be honest about who we are and encourage others to follow our example when this is helpful to them. This must be consistent with humility. The godly love themselves as much as they love others. They're frank and unassuming about themselves, neither focusing attention on themselves nor reluctant to stand out in the crowd. Since the godly don't derive their self-worth from their behavior, even their good behavior is not a source of self-exaltation. So they don't need to ignore it or refuse to acknowledge it before others to walk in humility. Walking in honesty and love requires being frank and unassuming about ourselves, even if it be admitting our own goodness, in order to rightly encourage others. Knowing we are humble, virtuous, or excellent, and offering ourselves to others as an example to follow, cannot in itself be inconsistent with humility.